So I want to share with you a bit of a message that will hopefully give you a bit of perspective. Not to say that your problems are irrelevant, that's not my goal. But I want to share with you a story about a man who gave me a bit of perspective as well. This guy's name is Eddie Jaku, and he was a Holocaust survivor. There's a photo of him up there now. There aren't a whole lot of Holocaust survivors left. The World War II happened like 1939 to 45, and that was some time ago now. So some of the last Holocaust survivors are dying very soon. So we're in a very unique opportunity, literally in the next few years, that we still have these survivors who have incredible stories to tell with us. I went to the Melbourne Jewish Holocaust Museum, and we had the opportunity of hearing from a survivor as well. And I'm sure many of you will remember. Now, I don't know. I don't know if you understand the significance of being able to hear from someone like this. But it's massive. It's massive, and we need to make the most of them while they are still alive. So there are people who deny the Holocaust even happened, and there are survivors. Now, in 10, 15 years, how much more? Yeah, there might be more Holocaust deniers, that's all I'm saying. But we must not forget what happened. I'd love to share the story of Eddie Jaku. He's about 101 years old. And Eddie has got a book, and this is where I heard his story. It's called The Happiest Man Alive. I really think that this book should be required reading for all of you. So Eddie Jaku. Eddie was German. He considered himself German first, Jewish second. German first, Jewish second. He had such pride in his heritage as a German man. And his dad did as well. So Eddie grew up in Germany. And so slowly, after World War I, the economy kind of in Germany went downhill. And something happened where the Jewish people started to be blamed for all of the problems that Germany was going through. So Eddie was put into an engineering school, and he got kicked out. So his dad had some good, great contacts in high places, and he had some papers made, some papers forged, and Eddie went under an alter ego, a different name, and he went to one of the top engineering schools in the country. So he went off to school by himself. He had to leave his family behind. And he goes and he lives, and he's not a Jew anymore. He's pretending to not be a Jew, just living his life over there. Now, in this school, he's quite disconnected from the main world, so he doesn't see what's happening. So he goes back to his hometown to visit, and he knocks on his parents' door, and they're not inside. They're not there. Well, it's a bit strange. So he goes in and he goes to bed. And then he's at the house, and then in the middle of the night, some Nazis storm the house, and they come in and they drag him out, and they killed his dog in front of him, Lulu, and they dragged him out into the street. And they threw all of the Jewish people into the river, this freezing cold river. And this was known as Kristallnacht. This was a significant night in the World War II story. So Eddie comments on this because he saw his neighbours, his friends, his German people that he grew up with turn into these monsters. How could you do such things to other human beings, he comments. So he saw all of that. And the story goes on and it gets horrific. He ends up being put into various concentration camps, Buchenwald, And he's there for some time, and he's forced to work on the machines because he was an engineering expert, so he's actually quite good at his job, which is why the Nazis wanted to keep him around, because of what he was able to do. So he would be working on the machines, he'd be chained to the machines, various things, making weapons, making the gas, a whole lot of different things. And he'd be chained to the machines, and he'd have a sign around his neck saying, if this man stuffs up 3 times, he's to be hung. That's the kind of thing that he was going through. And it's a crazy story. So many things happen. I don't want to get into it too much, but he ends up escaping. His dad picks him up. They go to Belgium, and then they have to run away in Belgium, and they find themselves back in Germany. Eventually, they get sent to Auschwitz, which was the worst camp. Eddie talks about how they were crammed into train carriages, hundreds of them in one carriage, all naked, with one barrel of water to drink water from and one barrel of water to defecate in. That's what they had to do. Many in some of the other carriages didn't survive, but they all managed to survive in this carriage. And when they got to Auschwitz, there was a man, and he was pointing people in different directions. You, that way. You, that way. You, that way. And Eddie was actually reunited with his whole family on that train. And he lost contact with his mum and sister, and Eddie was with his dad, and they got to the man, and the man said to Eddie's dad, you this way, and Eddie, you this way, and they were split. Eddie actually tried to go with his dad, but was forced to go in the other one. Turns out his dad's line was to the gas chambers, and he died. Eddie never saw his father again. And Eddie ended up continuing to work on the machines. He actually successfully escaped one time, and he knocked on this Polish guy's house, and the Polish guy he didn't know what to do, so he went and got his gun, and he came back, and Eddie ran away, and he ran in zigzags, and the man was shooting at Eddie, shot him in the calf down here, and Eddie had no choice but to actually go back to Auschwitz. So he went back. He went all the way back. He comments about how his just hope in humanity was crushed and destroyed. How could these people do such things? He would look at some of the soldiers and say, you're not a man, you're a monster, you're an animal. But he still says that there were like glimpses of humanity that he had, whether he was running away and someone from their house would throw a loaf of bread just to help sustain him and keep him going. And friendships, relationships. He had one friend who he went through this stuff with, and he kept coming in contact with this one guy, and he was close with him, and he said those relationships are what sustained him. And he talks about the power of hope. The power of hope. Come on. That power of hope and friendship is what got him through Auschwitz. And I remember I was listening to this audiobook in the car, and I reflected and I thought, whatever it is that I'm going through, I need to hold on to those little pieces of hope, the relationships that I do have, and be grateful for them. I was listening to it, and it kind of put all of my issues into perspective. Not to say that what I was going through, or like what you're going through, is irrelevant. That's not true. I understand. I see you. I see the pain and the struggle and all of that. Don't get me wrong. But you can get through it. In fact, you will get through it if you just hold on to that hope. What that hope looks like for you, I can't tell you. Look for yourself. Have a think about it. What is it that I hope for and I can cling to when there's chaos all around? What strikes me about Eddie and his story is that smile on the front cover, and the fact that the book is called The Happiest Man Alive. Oh my goodness. How can you go through all of that and call yourself the happiest man alive? Blows my mind. Eddie actually, after the war was over, he emigrated to Australia, Sydney, and he started a mechanic shop, and that's where he lived for the rest of his days. In fact, today he still lives in Sydney at the ripe old age of 101 years old. Let me get some quotes for you. So Eddie, hope. If you can hang on to hope, your body can do miraculous things. There are always miracles in the world, even when all seems hopeless. And when there are no miracles, you can make them happen. Oh, how good is that? Where there is life, there is hope. And then finally, when he talks about hate, I do not hate anyone. Hate is a disease which may destroy your enemy, but will also destroy you in the process. And happiness does not fall from the sky, it's in your hands. And he also said this, which I related to: young people today forget to stop. They're constantly running and don't know where they're running to. You should take time to be happy and enjoy life. I love it, I love it. Those quotes, you could just take them, anyone could have said them and they wouldn't be that meaningful. But the fact that that man is the one who said those quotes, the one who went through all of that suffering, heartache and trauma, he's the one who said that stuff about hope and positivity and joy and looking for the little things. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. Anyway, like I said, required reading, buy the book, get it on Audible. That if you struggle to read, you can listen to it whatever you're doing. I hope that story inspires you and sustains you through whatever it is that you're going through right now.
That was awesome. You know what else is awesome? Some of our YouTube content. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, get the bell on, and check out some of these videos.